Secretary of State Hillary Clinton announced today the U.S. will commit millions more to famine relief in East Africa. After 3 years of drought in Somalia, nearly 4 million people face starvation. Earlier this week, we broadcast from the refugee camps and brought you the stories of Somali families fleeing the famine and running from a brutal militia group called Al-Shabaab. Today, we asked Secretary Clinton about America's role. When you see these pictures that are coming out of the famine emergency, what do you think?
Well, it just breaks my heart because, you know, there is no doubt that some of this is the unfortunate consequence of, weather patterns, of drought. But I would say most of it is because of bad policies and bad people.
What are your concerns about Al-Shabaab in Somalia?
Well, I have many concerns about Al-Shabaab. Al-Shabaab is a terrorist group. Al-Shabaab has been particularly brutal, even barbaric, to the people under their control, even before this famine. But what we've seen in recent weeks just beggars the imagination, Scott. I mean, it's one thing to have a view of religion that is so brutal and totally at odds with anything that anyone else believes. But it's something entirely different to prevent women and children from getting to a place where they could be saved. And I've called on them and their leaders to show some mercy and some compassion. So far, we've seen no evidence that they're willing to do that.
How is the United States responding to the emergency?
Well, I think we are responding very effectively in the face of a very large challenge. We're by far the largest donor, over $550 million that we have put into trying to help save lives. We're not only providing emergency foodstuffs, we're helping with sanitation and health care. We're trying to vaccinate people so that there are not epidemics in the refugee camps. So it's not just that we're responding to the emergency, we're also trying to change the underlying conditions.
Some reasonable people would say this is a terrible, terrible tragedy, but we can't afford that. And I wonder what you would say to them.
I would say, look at these pictures. And the one thing that Americans are so well known for is our heart. No matter what anybody says about us anywhere in the world, people have to admit that when there's trouble anywhere, Americans are there. That's part of the DNA of the American character. We certainly can afford to do what is necessary now. And I would hate to think that our country would ever back off from that.